So we're gonna sew pointe shoes today. And so I'm gonna sew two different kinds of pointe shoes, one with regular ribbons and then one with elastic ribbons. So you can see how both of them are sewn. But we're gonna start with regular ribbons. So you'll get a pack of regular ribbon just like this with your pointe shoes from Dance Fashions or wherever you get your shoes. And the easiest way to figure out how to sew each side is to fold it in half first. Then you just pull it all the way till you get the crease in the middle. And then right at that crease is where you're gonna cut your first cut. You'll take scissors and just like this, cut right across. So now you'll have two pieces of long ribbon, and then you're gonna do it again on each piece. And then there's your two pieces of ribbon for one shoe. And you do it with the other one to get the two pieces for your other shoe. So now that you have four pieces of ribbon, I'm gonna do one shoe at a time. You're going to take both ends of your ribbon with a lighter, and this part is pretty dangerous, so be careful. And you're just going to lightly go over the top to make sure that it melts down so that your ribbons won't fray. You're gonna do that to each side of each ribbon, just like that. Perfect. And then once that's done, you can let them cool down for a minute, blow on them, just make sure they aren't still hot. And then you're gonna start sewing those in a minute. The rest is with your elastic. So you can get long elastic, they'll cut it for you at the store. And then how I measure is I stick one end about where I'm gonna sew it on the heel and just hold down. And then I actually put my foot in the shoe and wrap this around my ankle to get my right size. And I pull it just a little bit, but not a lot, so that I'll still have a good loop to put my ankle through. And then I cut it wherever it is. And that's how I get these tinier pieces of elastic. And they'll stretch and pull when I put them on the shoe. Okay, next you're gonna get your thread. I always just use the sewing kit that you can get from Dance Fashions or anything. And I like to pull long pieces of thread when I do it, just so that I make sure I don't run out of thread in the middle of sewing a ribbon. So I do a long piece, cut it, and then I will thread it through my needle, just like this. And then I just take both ends, and then I make a little loop with one of my fingers, and then I twist it and pull the extra through to tie a little knot so that the string won't go through the actual shoe when you thread it. Okay, now that you have your thread and elastic ready, we're gonna start on the heel. So on the heel, you have your big seam going right through it. And I always line up my elastic just a little bit off of that seam so that it hugs my ankle really tight. And I'm going to come down here and do a whip stitch across it. So how I do my whip stitches is I go through the shoe, and then while it's still in the shoe, come back up through the elastic. So it kind of pulls it all together and makes sure it stays for a while. And then you'll pull it just like that. And I do that again all throughout the perimeter of the elastic down there. And it makes these little tiny loops. So you're gonna keep going all the way around the elastic bend. Okay, so next you're gonna take your needle and you're gonna do just like you're gonna do another whip stitch right here. But before you get all the way through, you're going to take the needle and leave the thread out on the other side. And you're going to pull the little loop that's on this side, and you're gonna twist it in your needle twice. And then you're gonna pull it real tight, and it'll turn into a little knot right on the bottom. Okay, so now that you have both sides of your elastic sewn, you're gonna press down the back of your heel And this is how you're gonna figure out where to put your ribbon. So I always put mine a little bit closer to this inside seam. So I'm gonna put mine right about here. But you're going to take one of your pieces of ribbon, and on the end, you're gonna fold it twice in, just a little fold. And then you're going to stick the shiny side of your ribbon on the inside. And I find it's easiest to fold this heel back to be able to get back to the actual seam. So I'm gonna line up my ribbon with the seam, and then I re-threaded this needle so I would have more thread. And you're just gonna start doing the exact same whip stitch again. But one thing you wanna be certain of when sewing your ribbons and your elastics, you don't wanna hit the drawstring, because that won't allow you to adjust the size of your shoe. So you're gonna stay under the drawstring, and you're just gonna do this exact same whip stitch again, but on the ribbon and on the inside of your shoe. Okay, so this is what your shoe is gonna look like when you're done. You're gonna have the two ribbons on the side and then your elastic in the back, all whip stitched. And then we're gonna save the drawstrings for later, but we're gonna do elastic ribbons now. So I already went and sewed on the elastic in the back, and that you sewed just like we did the last one. It's just around the heel with the same length elastic. And then this is elastic ribbon, so it's a little bit stretchier, and you're only gonna use a little bit of it because this is one that you wrap around for like quick changes for spring show or nutcracker. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna take the lighter again and do the lighter on one end of your elastic ribbon, just to make sure it won't fray. Just like that. And then you're going to fold it just like we did the last ribbon, twice over, just like that. And then on the inside of your shoe, you measure it the same way, right next to the seam, just a little bit away. And then you're gonna take your needle and do the same exact whip stitch all the way around and through. So now you're gonna tie it off the same way, where you push the needle through all the way, holding this piece of thread. And it's gonna create a little loop that you can double up your needle through, and then just pull the knot tight and pull it down, just that it ends just like that. Okay, so now that you have just one side sewn with the rest of the ribbon, you're going to pull it around your ankle like you would if you had it tied, and then mark it where you're gonna cut right down here. You wanna leave a little bit of extra space so that you can do the two fold, but you're just gonna cut it right on the end like that. Okay, so now on this end, you're gonna take your lighter again and make sure all the frays go away. And then you're going to get ready to sew again by folding it twice and taking it on the inside layer of the shoe. Back again. And then you're going to sew right there. Okay, so now you have both of your sides sewn, and it's like a big loop. And from there, once it's on your foot, you just wrap it around the front twice, and it'll pop up just like your regular ribbons would. Okay, so now we're gonna tie the drawstrings. So just put your shoe on, push your heel all the way back to the very back, and then you can pull it tight, just like you would have toe pads in. You can also put on your toe pads to make sure it all feels correct. I normally just do it without, just because it's quicker and easier. But once you're there, you just tie it tight twice or 3 times. And then you can just cut off the extra, like, there we go. And then just tuck it in and you're ready to wear your pointe shoes.